And as the postal strike continues, Canada Post is trying to keep the mail moving by operating several temporary sorting facilities around Mississauga. But the Postal Workers Union is fighting back and trying to keep the Gateway sorting plant closed down. The result has been angry confrontations.
Even before the postal strike began, Canada Post set up this temporary sorting station near the Gateway postal facility in Mississauga. But when the striking workers learned about the sorting station, they quickly set up their pickets outside the building. Soon after, the traditional strike confrontations began.
Your work security guards does it take to hold a little warehouse like this? Isn't it usually maybe one or two?
Especially if they're not doing a warehouse. We're on the outside.
Well, why would they need so many?
The picketers not only prevented trucks from entering the building, they also prevented the temporary workers from leaving. But the local Cup W president claims that so far this strike hasn't been as violent as previous ones.
There's been, certainly been, I guess, less violence, a lot less violence, and that is due to the fact that I think one reason for that is the fact that the Peel Regional Police have taken the position that they will not break the picket line in order to get mail or scabs through unless there is damage being done to the vehicle that's waiting to get in or there's violence or violent incidents. And
there are over 2,000 striking postal workers in Mississauga. About 250 of those workers are picketing the half-dozen temporary sorting stations throughout the city. With cameraman Mike Stewart, this is Andrew Egan for City Magazine.
And letter carriers in Mississauga and the rest of Canada are back delivering the mail. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers asked their members to return to work at the request of the newly appointed mediator, Chief Justice Alan Gold.
Letter carriers in Mississauga have begun delivering mail again. Here at Gateway, Canada's second largest postal facility, trucks have been streaming in and out constantly, while letter carriers fan out through the city to resume their duties. Though the letter carriers were delivering a little later than usual, most Mississauga residents had their boxes stuffed with mail by the afternoon. The head of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, Jean-Claude Parot, said it was tough to ask their members to call off the strike. Mail sorters returned to their jobs Thursday night, and letter carriers returned Friday morning. According to Canada Post, there are no problems and no disruptions. With cameraman Mike Stewart, this is Andrew Egan for City Magazine.
Thanks, Jane, and welcome to the City Magazine Update. In our top story tonight, many residents who bought homes near the Britannia landfill because of promises by Mississauga and Peel Region to close it by 1992 are angry over plans to keep it open. And Mayor McCallion and Regional Chair Frank Bean are equally upset over the provincial government's proposals.
Although the province of Ontario has ordered the region of Peel to keep the Britannia landfill open, Peel Regional Council has voted to defy the order. Local residents are pleased that the region is striving to keep their promise to close Britannia. On the other hand, residents feel that the province is neglecting their concerns, as though an army of politicians is playing games above their heads.
To date, we've found that the ministry is very unresponsive and inaccessible to the citizens.
I've told Ruth Greer that she should be coming out and having a public meeting and telling the public exactly what we're telling them. Unfortunately, we're having to explain Greer's problem to the public. I don't think that's fair.
Many Mississauga residents have the Britannia dump right in their backyards, and they want it closed. Several ratepayers associations say that if the province doesn't close Britannia, they'll take legal action. And other residents have even discussed organizing a blockade. The Britannia landfill issue is now the Britannia landfill war, and these residents are prepared to fight.
4 or 5 residents association in the immediate area are considering legal action against the government. and I know a number of the developers are considering that as well.
Mississauga Mayor Hazel McCallion claims that the region of Peel's current garbage crisis was actually created by Provincial Environment Minister Ruth Greer. And she says the city of Mississauga and the region of Peel are going to fight the province's plans to the end.
Being hypocritical, you know, it's hard to go in front of the citizens and pose as a live hypocrite. And that's what she's going to have to do.
The mayor and Peel chairman Frank Bean met with Ruth Greer at Queen's Park on Monday. This was their first discussion on the landfill dispute, but nobody made any concessions, and the meeting ended without any agreements. The Environment Minister still believes that expanding Britannia is the right thing to do.
I really had no choice. I mean, we are faced with a crisis throughout the Greater Toronto area, and in the case of Peel, once Britannia closed, they had nowhere to take their waste.
Ruth Greer also claims that this time the province's plans won't change.
I can understand the annoyance of officials in Peel who've had changes in direction. This is the direction. It's not going to change again.
Although Mayor McCallion and Chairman Bean plan to meet with the Environment Minister again, the Britannia landfill fight is currently at a stalemate. Ontario is adamant that they'll enforce the order. Mississauga and Peel are adamant that they'll defy the order. At Queen's Park, this is Andrew Egan for City Magazine.
Andrew joins us now with more on this story. Andrew, what can the regional government really do to defy this order from Queen's Park?
Well, there are several things that the region can do. Probably the first thing they're going to do is they're going to refuse to do the studies the province is requiring. After that, they'll refuse to hire consultants, and in the end, they'll just stop sending trucks to Britannia.
What's the next step in the process?
Well, right now, there's a stalemate. The province is trying to enforce the order. The province wants to enforce this order. Peel is just defying the order. Ruth Greer did say that in the end, it would end up in a court battle, although she's trying to be a peacemaker, and she's trying to have it so that it does not end up in a court battle. They're going to continue the negotiations.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll be following that story.
Late-night gas bars in Mississauga have been hit by a spree of armed robberies in the past few weeks. The robberies are prompting questions about the safety of operating these gas bars at night.
Working at a late-night gas bar is a popular job for young people, such as college students. But working at these gas bars can also be dangerous, and many of these students might be sacrificing their safety to pay their tuition.
Hi, how are you? Pretty good. How about yourself?
Dozens of car owners purchase gas throughout the night at this Sunoco gas bar on Erin Mills Parkway. The customers pump the gas, then bring the cash or credit card to the window. But a few nights ago, 19-year-old attendant Theo David met a different type of customer when two men appeared from behind the gas station, approached the window, and pulled out a gun.
He reached into the front of his belt, loaded the chamber, and pointed the gun at me, indicated that he wanted the door open. And he wanted money, of course.
The attendants at the late-night gas bars know that they might be robbed, but they say that the risk is just part of their job.
It comes with the job. You have to deal with it as best you can. And keep in mind what the books tell you to do and what procedures to follow.
Theo decided not to open the door for the armed bandits. Instead, he phoned the police, and the men fled. The police actually believe that the men who attempted to rob this gas bar are the same men who successfully robbed an Esso gas bar at Darien Mill Creek just 20 minutes earlier. The Esso gas bar is also staffed by teenagers at night. But 18-year-old Kevin Cox, who works the midnight shift, thinks that the station's security system would protect him during a robbery.
You have your locked window with your microphone, your locked door, and all your alarms and systems inside the booth.
Stuart Gallant works at this gas bar at Hurontario and Central Parkway. It's one of the only 24-hour full-serve stations in Mississauga. When Stuart started working at the station a year and a half ago, he was doing the night shift all by himself, something he thinks is dangerous.
When I was by myself, I did worry about it quite a lot, and I ended up saying that I didn't want to continue working this shift.
In the past month, there have been 4 robberies of late-night gas bars in Mississauga. But as long as students need money for tuition, and as long as people want to buy gas at night, the late-night gas bars will remain open. Yet the question remains, are they safe? This is Andrew Egan for City Magazine.
Toronto rock musicians gathered at Superstars nightclub on Wednesday night to play a concert to benefit the family of Kayla Claudeuse. The 3-year-old's body was found this week in Toronto Harbor.
The body of Kayla Claudeuse was found floating in Toronto Harbor on August 2nd, 24 days after she disappeared from her Parkdale home. Even though Kayla is no longer missing, the organizers of this concert hope to raise as much as $25,000 to help Kayla's family and to aid Child Find, an organization that helps track missing children. 1,500 people paid $10 each to attend the benefit concert, which was organized by Greg Godovitz of the Toronto rock group Goddo.
We're doing the concert to aid the family of Kayla Claudeuse, Steve and Carrie. All the money from the ticket sales tonight are going to go to help the family, hopefully start a new life. And the other thing that we're doing is all the money that's raised as a result of corporate donations and raffles and such is going to Child Find Ontario to help in the search for other missing children.
The event was supported by Q107 Radio, the Music Express magazine, and Labatt's, who donated $10,000 to Child Find. The evening's hosts included Q107 DJ Joey Vendetta, former Much Music VJ Dan Gallagher, and Gil Moore of Triumph. The concert featured performances by 13-year-old folk singer Pat Gillen, along with the Partland Brothers, Teenage Head, and a brilliant performance by Gowan. The money from the concert's corporate sponsorship and raffles, as well as a portion of the bar sales, went to Child Find, an organization dedicated to preventing abductions such as Kayla's.
Child Find's a national organization. We're a nonprofit charity. We're not a government-funded agency, so we rely on private and corporate donations. And we have 2 roles. We have a proactive and a reactive role. Reactively, we are involved in the search for missing children, and proactively, we have awareness and education programs for both children and adults.
Kayla's parents came to the concert later in the evening. Kayla's mother had said that she wanted the concert to go ahead, even though their daughter had been found. With cameraman Dave Hormans, this is Andrew Egan for City Magazine.
Satisfactorily answered all the concerns, and that we should be given the green light to go ahead and build the runways.
Transport Canada doesn't want to look at it. Say, oh, wait a minute, times have changed and we should change our mind. Like a referee who's called a bad call.
Starting as a simple airfield in 1938, Toronto's Lester B. Pearson International Airport has burgeoned into a global megaport. 50 years ago, farmers' fields surrounded the airport. The city lay far away. But half a century of rapid urban development has now pushed thousands of residents into the airport's backyard. Funneling 20 million passengers a year through its 3 terminals, Pearson International serves as the hub of Canadian air travel and as the 2nd largest international gateway in North America. The airport employs over 15,000 persons on site and indirectly employs tens of thousands more in over 200 airport-related businesses. Even though it's one of the world's largest airports, Pearson has been struggling for the past few years to accommodate rapidly increasing air traffic. Unlike other major international airports, hundreds of small propeller aircraft take off and land at Pearson daily. When a large jet, such as a 747, wants to take off or land, it must wait several minutes until the slower prop plane has moved out of its path. Pearson also suffers from a shortage of flight controllers. The control tower is presently 25% understaffed. Occasional crosswinds also cause congestion because the winds allow takeoffs and landings only on the single north-south runway. But the major cause of runway congestion at Pearson, according to Transport Canada, is high demand. Transport Canada claims that insufficient runway capacity at Pearson has already caused chaos. To ease the burden of this increasing air traffic, Transport Canada decided in 1988 to embark on a $670 million project to expand Pearson's runway capacity. To increase takeoff and landing capacity by 30%, Transport Canada plans to double the number of runways at the airport from 3 to 6.
I guess 1988 we really started to feel the crunch of sort of demand exceeding capacity, but eventually we're going to run into some severe problems, and that's when we started to say that decisions have to be made to satisfy the aviation demand for the Greater Toronto Area.
The consequences of this runway congestion are magnified because Pearson is a hub airport. This means that hundreds of flights from smaller regional airports swarm into Pearson daily with passengers who connect with other flights. And for the next few decades at least, Transport Canada is committed to maintaining Pearson as a hub airport.
We have a lot of small communities in Ontario, Sudbury, Sarnia, North Bay, a number of these communities that really are best served by smaller aircraft. And what happens is that those small aircraft take up a lot of runway capacity.
Pearson's current runway configuration features 3 runways, 2 in the east-west direction and 1 in the north-south direction. This current configuration can accommodate a maximum 85 aircraft movements per hour. To increase takeoff and landing capacity, Transport Canada wants to build 3 additional runways, 2 more in the east-west direction and 1 more in the north-south direction. This planned configuration could accommodate a maximum 126 aircraft movements per hour. Although adding a few more runways at the airport sounds simple, Transport Canada presented their expansion plan only after hundreds of man-hours of study over several years. The runway planners have written numerous detailed reports on the proposal, including this 1,800-page environmental impact statement, Transport Canada's Bible of the runway project.